Hello everybody and welcome to another class. Do you remember that last week we became architects? Yeah, do you remember? I do remember. Do you remember that we did a blueprint and we counted some items that we have in our house? Just like architects do. Well, today we're starting a new topic and it's jobs. What is a job? A job is what grown-ups do for a living. So we're going to learn some vocabulary regarding jobs. For example, one job is being an architect, like we were the other week. And this week we're going to do another job. First, let's introduce some jobs that we are going to learn these weeks. So, we already know the first one. The first one is architect. Yeah, we did it last week, so we already know what it is. But let's do some new ones. For example, policeman. Policeman. What's a policeman? So a policeman is the people that these days are helping us to stay at home. They also help with crimes and robberies. Do you know what it is already? The next job is doctor. Doctor. Doctors and nurses are very important so they can keep us healthy and safe, especially these days. So what's a doctor? And what's a nurse? The next job is a chef or a cook. It's the people that cook food in restaurants, in hotels, in bars. The next job is a very difficult one to achieve, and it's very exciting and cool. It's astronaut. Astronaut. So astronauts are the people who go into space and they see the planets, the satellites, and investigate there. The next job is a scientist. Scientist. So scientists are people who investigate science. I'm sure my science kids will know what we're talking about. So they do investigation, they do experiments, they do trial and error of many things, so they can discover things that we need to learn. For example, how plants grow, some medicines that we need, and many other things. The last one that we are going to learn for today is vet. Vet. So a vet is a doctor, but for animals. That's a vet. It takes care of animals and their health. Now that we've learned all of this, do you know which one we're going to be today? Come on, take a guess. 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. We're going to be astronauts. Remember we said that astronauts are the people that go into space and explore. So today we're going to learn the names of the planets in our galaxy, also the name of our galaxy, and we're going to do a craft related to space. Let's go ahead. Tell me if you know the names of the planets in our galaxy. Do you know them? But first of all, what's the name of our galaxy? The name of our galaxy is the Milky Way. Inside the Milky Way, we have a star, and that star's name is the Sun. All of the planets that do circles around the Sun are called, with the Sun together, the solar system. And that's the names of the planets that we're going to learn today. All of the planets of the solar system. So, first of all, we have the Sun. It's a star. And because it's a star, it's made of gas. And that gas creates fire. So it's a big, huge ball of fire. Therefore, the color is orange, red, or yellow. That's why we see it that color, because really it's fire. The closest planet to the Sun is Mercury. Mercury. Mercury is a very small planet, and there it's very, very hot, very, very hot, because it's so close to the Sun that has fire that the temperature is very, very high. The next planet is Venus. Venus. So Venus is a little bit bigger than Mercury, but it's still a little bit smaller than the Earth. Yeah, it's still very hot, but it's not as hot as Mercury, but it's hotter than here in Earth. So it's pretty hot in there still. The planet number 3 after the Sun is the Earth. It's our planet. So the temperature here for us, it's perfect. The Earth is a planet that's more or less the size of Venus, not too big, not too small, and with the right temperature for humans and animals and plants to live. It has water, which many other planets don't have. Do you know that around the Earth we have a natural satellite? A satellite is like a small planet that goes around the planets, the real ones. So our satellite has a name. Do you know its name? Its name is the moon. So what we see on the sky at night is actually a small, compared to Earth satellite that goes around the Earth. That's why we don't see it all the time, because it's going around the Earth, and when it's, for example, in China, they don't see it in Spain. And if it's in Spain, they don't see it in China. That's why we only see it for more or less half of the day. After Earth, we have Mars, which is more or less the size of the Earth, but it's a bit colder, because the farther away you are from the Sun, the colder it gets. So the life there is not suitable. It's too cold in there. And now we start with the bigger planets. This one is very big. The next one is Jupiter. Jupiter. The following planet is a very, very cool one, and it's called Saturn. Saturn is pretty big, but what's special about it is that around it there's small circles like this that are around it, and they are made of gas and rocks. We call them rings, and Saturn has so many rings around it. We are almost at the end. We only have 2 planets left. The following one is Uranus. Uranus is a pretty big planet as well, but it's not as big as Saturn, for example. And then at last we have Neptune. Neptune is the last of the planets, so it's the coldest of them. So those were the 8 planets that we have on the solar system. Now that we know all of those names and all of those things, we'll start doing our craft. Today is going to be very fun. I want you to choose one of the planets that I explained. So if we have 8, you can choose any of those 8, the one that you like the best. I'm going to put up a picture so you can see which one you like most. You can choose it by the size, you can choose it by the colors. Maybe you like the one that has rings. Remember which one was it? It was Saturn. You can choose it however you like. You could even draw the moon, which is not a planet, remember? What is it? It's a satellite, yeah? You can choose any of those 8 planets or the Earth's satellite, the moon, and we're going to draw them, but in a very special way. So now I'm going to put up a picture and you choose which one you like the best. Ready? Let's go. Have you chosen it yet? Do you know which one it is? Okay, then remember the name and remember how it looks like, because we are going to have to draw it. But now I'm going to explain the materials we're going to need to do the following thing. So first of all, make sure that the surface you're doing it in is a table that you can clean after, or you have something to protect it. For example, a plastic or something that you can easily clean, or you do it on a very thick surface that your parents and you can clean after, and it's not super messy. The first thing we need is a paper. Yeah? You could also use a thicker paper like a cardboard or something like that, but make sure that the color is white or another neutral color, because we're going to use a lot of colors here. And if we use, for example, a red paper, we're not going to be able to see the colors. So make sure that it's a neutral color. It's better if it's white. This is very important. I'm going to give you different options to color. First option is watercolors. Yeah, watercolors are very fun to draw, but I'm sure not everybody has them at home. So if you don't have watercolors, you can use paint diluted in water. You could also use food coloring, and if you don't have any of those, you could do it with markers and then dilute them a little bit with water as well. And we will need 2 cups, like these ones I have here. One empty, nothing inside, and one with water. It doesn't need to be full to the top, it just needs to have a little bit water so we can sink the brush. We also need a brush so we can sink it in. If you don't have a brush, you could do it with your fingers. Yeah, you could dip it in the paint and do it with your fingers, but a brush will make it much easier. Make sure that you also grab your coloring utensils like pencils, rubbers, and any other thing that you might need or want. And at last, we're going to need a straw. It's better if it's reusable, but if you don't have a reusable one, you can use a plastic one, like the one I'm using today. And if you don't have any straw, it's okay. You could also do it without the straw, but with the straw, it's going to be much more precise. Okay, so let's start. First of all, I want you to take your paper, place it on a flat surface, and draw a big circle. If you are choosing to draw Saturn, make sure that you leave some space for the rings. If not, you can just make a big circle that fills up all of the paper. Super big like this. I'll show you what I do now. If you want to do more than one planet, which is also okay, it's very nice, you could do it with the help of this glass. This glass is optional, it's not super necessary, but you could do it with it. Because you see, it has a circle here and the smaller circle here. So you can use this to draw on your circles, like I'm gonna do now. You place it on the paper And with your pencil or marker, you trace the outside, like so. Make sure that you're not using a permanent marker because your glass could get stained. And we don't want that, right? See, we have a big circle. And now with the other end, we could do a smaller circle, like so. See, we have a big circle and a small circle. So I'm going to do 2 planets, one bigger and one smaller. We have our planets ready, or our planets if you only choose to do one. Let's go ahead and start the fun. Remember to fill up one glass with some water. We will need it if you're using this, or if you're using paint or any other material that I suggested. In my case, I'm going to use watercolors because they look so much nicer, but any other thing would work as well. So I chose the big planet is going to be Neptune. Neptune is color blue. So I'm going to do it in different shades of blue. I'm going to write down the name Neptune above my planet so I don't forget which one I'm drawing. See? Neptune. And the small planet that I'm going to draw is going to be Venus. And Venus is shades of yellow and orange. So I will do shades of yellow and orange to draw it. Now that I have my planets with their names, so I don't forget which one it is, I'll go and look at a picture reference. You can go back in the video to remember how they look, so you can draw them exactly or different. I'm going to start with Neptune. First, I'm going to dip my brush in the water, and because it's very, very wet, I'm going to take a little bit of the excess on the side of the cup. I'll leave my cup here, and then because Neptune is blue, I'm going to dip in one of the 2 blues that I have. So for example, this one. This is light blue, and this is dark blue. I'm going to start with light blue. I'm going to swirl my brush around so I get as much color as I can. I'm going to dip a little bit in the water again because the effect will be so much nicer. Now, let's see, look. I'm going to drop a few droplets on Neptune like so. Yeah? And now I'm going to take my straw and I'm going to blow on the paint. Let's see what it looks like. Oops, it went a little bit out. But don't worry, we can take a tissue and we can clean it up a little bit. Later, we can color all of this so it doesn't look like that. Now, let's choose another shade of blue. First, we're going to take our cup, swirl our brush around. See, the water is turning blue. We're going to swirl it until the brush is clean and it doesn't have any color on it. Does it look clean? Yeah? Okay, now let's go and take a little bit of dark blue. So this one here. Going to swirl, swirl, swirl around like so. And once we have our brush saturated, we're going to put it on Neptune, like so. Like that. And then we take our straw and blow again. Now you can finish up your planet however you want. You can take some markers and draw around, some colored pencils, more paint or more watercolors, and finish it however you like. Now that I have finished my planet, I'm going to show you. Mine looks like this. Do you like it? Yeah? Now you can do it yourself. If you haven't finished yet, you can pause the video and you can finish now, and I'll go on and do my other one meanwhile. My 2 planets are finished. If you want to decorate them a little bit more, I'm going to show you a very nice trick. Take your glass full of filthy water like mine, swirl your brush around until it's clean. If your brush doesn't come clean, it means that your water is too dirty. So go to the toilet or to the kitchen and drop this water and take new one. Mine is not super dirty yet, but I'm going to have to change it soon. So, once you have that done, you're going to take a very small amount of water in the brush, a very little amount, and swirl around the color white. You could do it with more colors, but with white it makes more contrast. You need to swirl a lot, so you get all of your brush white. Like mine, see? It's all white. Now, look at this technique. I'm going to take my brush like so, and I'm going to do like this. Might need a little bit more water. Yeah, now that it has more water, wow! Do you see? Wow! Look! Do you like it? Now you can try and do it. Try to do small touches so it doesn't go everywhere. Now, if you want to make stars, you could also use that technique with yellow paint. It will look amazing if you color the back in dark blue or even black, and you drop, like this, some stars in yellow. I'm sure it will look amazing. Now that we have all of this, you can pause the video if you haven't finished it yet. You can do it as much as you like. You can decorate it way more than I did. It's very nice if you do what I did with the stars. You could do more planets, or you could even cut them and hang them somewhere, or put them on the fridge or somewhere, or on the window so your neighbors can see it. Or you could send me pictures and videos of your planets because I really want to see them. I want to see which ones you did, what colors you did. Another thing, make sure that you tidy everything up and you clean up after. You can do it alone, but you can ask your parents to help you. Make sure that you take your watercolors, nice and dry, you put them back in the box. Make sure that you take this to the sink, wash the glass with soap and water, and dry it later. If your straw is disposable, like mine, a plastic one, throw it in the bin, and if it's reusable, wash it as well. The brush also needs to be washed. Make sure that you wash it a lot, so all of the brush are... Make sure that you brush it a lot against your hand or against a surface, so all of the bristles are no color. They don't have any paint on them. And if you decided to do this with markers, it's a very good trick. If you paint with the marker, then dip your finger in water and go over the marker with some water. That will also look very good. Let me see your planets. Let me see how you did. And I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye!